Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast in which we smash apart the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute chunks so we can analyze them in scrupulous detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Road to Infinity podcast.
And I'm Rob Cabasco. My middle name is John. Hello to my brother. I love you. All right, there we go.
All right, so we are here to talk about minute number 5 of The Incredible Hulk by Louis Leterrier.
So we're into the movie now.
We're into the movie proper,
Okay.
like where things are getting up, things are getting moving, where it happens. So, but before we get started properly, we're going to talk about something that doesn't happen. Yes, that's right. It's another deleted scene.
Another deleted scene.
This
This is the record for most deleted scenes.
I know, this fast, right?
In the first 5 minutes of a movie.
I know. Like, they really reworked it a couple of times before they really found the one they want to go with.
So the thing that blows my mind is, one, the amount of money that is spent on stuff that's not used.
Yep.
2, how important it is to get your first 4 or 5 minutes right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And set your stage and the pacing and everything. And that's...
Yeah, and it looks like it got... by the time we ever see a deleted scene, it's pretty far in the process. I mean, like, because you can... The deleted scene is fully cut, fully edited, sound, everything. I mean, like, it was probably in the movie until probably the last cut.
Right.
So they really wanted to trim it down. But it kind of goes along with the lead scene we saw in the earlier one of wherever
Tundra,
it was. Something cold,
Canadian, right.
Canadian, whatever it was. So it starts out with Bruce running through the jungle, and he goes up on top of a mountain, essentially. And then, like you were saying, it's a very expensive shot because a helicopter circles him multiple times as he's standing out there.
I don't think this does anything. This doesn't add to the establishing of where he is.
It just slows it down because then he's basically out for his morning jog, and he comes down from the mountain, and when he comes down, he exits the jungle, and there's the favela right there. And I think maybe from that they would then cut to Bruce starting his day. So he's done his run in the morning. He goes to a shop. He got a package delivered, so he gets that. He goes to the streets. He's moving very cautiously. He's looking around. He's not making eye contact with anybody. He stops at his door and makes sure that no one is there observing him before he goes in. And when he goes in, and we see that he has a dog. Aww. And he sort of has a conversation with the dog about how the dog is a terrible watchdog and how come you don't bark. And
because the dog did nothing.
The dog did nothing. Just sat there, like, looking at him as he opened the door.
And the dog was like, "I'm been hungry." Yeah. So that's it.
And then we see him go and get the book. It's a book about the flora and fauna of Brazil. Amazonia is what they actually say, but this area. He gets on his computer and he does this. We're going to talk about the computer stuff later because it happens officially in the next coming minutes. But he does that communication, and then the scene ends. It kind of picks up where we have here because he starts making breakfast for himself and the dog. Right. So that's where our minute proper actually starts. So let's talk about the real minute 5. First of all, Bruce Banner can cook.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right. So,
looks like a very tasty breakfast.
That's right. Put that on his Tinder profile. He also then, so we see him making breakfast for himself and for the dog, which the dog does not have a name at this point. At least we don't know what it is. Then he goes and he grabs a Portuguese to English dictionary and sits down in front of the television. He fires up the television. We get a shot of the local Brazilian news. All
weather reporter.
All the temperature in Celsius. So it's like, it's going to be a hot day of 30 today. It's strange to us as Americans. Quick to a football game. I'm not sure. I even went online to see if people knew who was playing. Somebody had guessed Liverpool because they're in red, but no one could really figure out exactly who it was. And then we get flips to another channel, and it's an episode of The Courtship of Eddie's Father. Now, for those of us who grew up in the late 70s or early 80s, dating ourselves, this was the show that Bill Bixby was on before he got Incredible Hulk. It has not aged terribly well.
Yeah, this is early 70s.
Yes.
Right, so when it was syndication, we've seen it. No, it hasn't, but I got to tell you, when we go on and on and on about the nostalgia. Mm-hmm. This was a really nice moment. I mean, what a nice tribute.
To put him actually on screen.
Put him on screen before anything happens. Like I mean, this is almost like credits, tribute, movie. Yeah. And I think that's a very nice gesture on behalf of everyone who was a part of this project.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a nice, real quick way to put it in there, and then just and
if you're listening to this and you don't know about Bill Bixby's story, died very young. This is why a lot of people who know Bill Bixby and who remember him, especially as the television and movie star he was, there's a bit of tenderness about it because he died too soon.
And from what I've read and stuff too, he was generally known as an incredibly nice guy.
Yes.
Like he was well regarded by everyone.
Yes.
And it was a big loss when he died. So all right, so then he switches the channel over and we see Sesame Street. So Sesame Street actually is playing in Portuguese. So Bruce sits down with his breakfast, and he opens his Portuguese dictionary, and then starts watching Sesame Street. And from what I have heard, this actually is a common way for people to learn, because everything on Sesame Street is very simple. So it's a really nice way to learn the language, because everything, they're not a lot of metaphors and nuances and all that kind of stuff. It's straight, direct language,
simple sentences.
Yeah, easy to pick up. However, and this is where I'm going to get super nerdy. Because I am a big fan of Muppets and I'm a big fan of Sesame Street, and when they play that one, I know exactly what that sketch is, and I know it's Grover, and I'm going to spare you my Grover impression. However, that is not talking about what he's reading about. Like, he watches it for a little bit and flips it, and he's saying the word hungry, and he is saying it to the dog, hungry. But that's not what that sketch is about. That sketch is about around, over, under, and through. That's because that's what Grover is doing with those doors. He's going around them and over them and under them and through them. That's what the concept he's teaching. So I don't know where he got hungry out of this, but
maybe all that movement is making him hungry.
Maybe as he's eating his food.
Cookie Monster probably comes at the end of that scene and goes,
yeah. Obviously, what they're doing semantically is they're setting up a joke that'll be paid off later in the thing. Is that that hungry will be an important word later on for a joke. So once he finishes breakfast, Bruce is off somewhere. So he is walking down a very distinct locale. So this is called the Celeron Staircase. This is a very famous location in Rio de Janeiro. It was created by Jorge Celeron in 1990. So it's all decorated with tiles. So it's a very famous location in there. So then we see where is he going this morning? Is he going to work? Is he going to pick up a package? No, he's going to his Aikido lesson. So he is actually taking Aikido lessons from this is a guy named Rickson Gracie. So this is interesting, is that they're having him take Aikido, breathing and meditation, all that kind of stuff, except Rickson Gracie is a jiu-jitsu champion. He actually is a 9th degree red belt. He is the highest ranking jiu-jitsu champion. He even has his own documentary. It's called Choke. It was put out in 1995. Nice. So he's a legit guy, but they hired him as the Aikido instructor.
Movies.
Movies. Yeah, it's all fighty stuff. It's right. It's all kicky punchy. What does it matter the difference? But yeah, so we see him learning how to do a couple of falls in this as our minute comes to an end. Bruce has a little life here. So he's got an apartment. He's got a dog. He's learning the language. He's doing some self-defense classes. I don't think we see the Hulk doing any jiu-jitsu or Aikido moves later on, but right. I guess he's just using it more as same stuff. But we'll learn more about that in minute 6.
But you do definitely you understand his environment, you understand where he's at in life, and you really do get the paranoia. He's using obviously some older technology, even still, that's an old laptop. He's using some weird antenna array to access internet.
Yeah, that's in the deleted scene, but yeah.
Right. Oh, in the deleted scene.
Yeah.
And you're also getting, that whole point, like when he's walking around, he's keeping his head down. Mm-hmm. He's walking a few steps past his door and then waiting until he knows there's no one around and then going back and letting himself in. You very much understand his state of mind.
Man on the run.
You understand the state of mind, and you understand his urgency because he's trying to do something. And that something is not just not get angry.
That's right. Yeah, he's trying to do something different because he is on a quest for something.
Right.
And we'll find out what that is as our minutes go by. So that's pretty much all there is about minute 5. So, all right. Well, thank you all for listening. If you want to follow more about what the next reel is doing, you can follow us on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. All the social media places. Just look for the next reel and you'll find out what we're up to. And as always, thank you all for listening. Hope you had a smashing good time. See you next time, true believers.
Bye.